What's up, guys? We got a big DPP game here with the legendary 6A9 Ace Matador making his return after a hiatus of several years. Uh, so we've got Heatran against Azelf. And so Azelf can be. Oh, we're gonna calc in a second to see if that was a ban trade. We've got Specs Overheat. I love Specs Tran, it's amazing. And it does a fuckload to Suicune. I've used a bunch of Specs Tran recently, and it used to be one of my favorite pokes. I don't know, a ton of teams. It's just amazing. So, the fact that Azelf U-turned makes me think it's gonna be Scarf or Band. We'll calc Band damage as Perk comes into Coon, and that's not good because that is a big mismatch in favor of Coon, unless he's got Mirror Coat, which would be hilarious, but somehow I don't see it happening. So U-turn versus, yeah, that's not banded. As he hydros and brings in Uxie, which lets him get his rocks up. And we can glean from this that AM must be either he does not want his Pokemon, his sweepers to get revealed too early. Maybe it's a Calm Mind Jirachi, that would make a lot of sense. And thus he's willing to let Swampert take that big hit. Looks like he might have some Spadef EVs as well. Those are useful for things like Mixed Knight Draco Meteor and occasionally surviving a Heatran HP Grass. Or I'll just switching into repeated Fire Blasts. Hydro barely, he's trying to scout some more, and he brings in Azelf for another U-turn. So the non-banded Azelf. I wonder why he ran from Heatran if he wasn't banded, which would be more likely to just blow up on a Tran. But like Lights, maybe it's, I don't know why it wouldn't rock in that situation. Maybe it is just Scarf. I mean, that would be cool if it were, but he's got the two Pixies, somehow I don't think we'll be seeing Mesprit. So for AM, likely guys are Breloom, Calm Mind Jirachi, just, staple stuff. We're going to see either a 6-5, or I would think that, well, if he goes to Heatran to take the U-turn, then Kuz comes back in. Wow, I mean, maybe he feared Specs Tran because that's been popping up again recently. Heatran is a lead, otherwise, is really, really faded out. But, I mean, props to him. He kept his Azelf alive and killed a poke and, got rocks, and now he's leading. Protect Coon, great set. Ooh, not good. I am not a fan of the Protect here. I mean, maybe if it were a Scarf Rotom, like confirmed, then sure, but here, Sub Rotom, I mean, it doesn't mean something like a Roserade, but it definitely could. I think Roserade would have come out there, actually, so. And I don't think we're going to be seeing a Nidoqueen here alongside the Pert, unless it was like a really hard stall team, and even then, it's uncommon, so. And 4E, possible, but unlikely, I would say. I would assume this is a sub, then you've got your possibility of Charge Beam, or just Thunderbolt and like Shadow Ball / Hydro Pump and then Pain Split, or Will-O-Wisp. He goes for Ice Beam, breaking the sub. And we will see if Smurf has an appropriate response to this. So, I mean, the Azelf thing was very cool. We'll just assume a Colbur lead. And he's going to most likely get a kill with it later if he can somehow deal with this Rotom, because Boom will do a lot of damage to everything else. So, Protect Calm Mind Coon is very cool. It works best with T-Spikes, though. And it also works best out of Sand, and that hasn't been set up yet. If Smurf's got Azelf and Uxie, then the Uxie almost surely is a dual screener. And I would not be very surprised to see 3 other sweepers as Smurf's other 4. He decides to not let his assumed sweepers take any hits on the switch and just lets Coon go, and 5-5 game. Rocks on both sides. So, there's a T-Tar. I could definitely see this being DD, and it's also very threatening now that Pert's out of the picture. Unless AM's packing him a Champ or something. Which would be cool. I think that would fit pretty nicely here. Breloom is also always an option. I would expect Dragon Dance on a team like this, just to really, really abuse those screens. That's pretty much the only use there would be for Uxie. So Dragonite switching in, that's kind of desperate. And a Stone Edge miss, that blows. That really blows. That's more than a little silly. I mean, he's got a good, pretty good switch in Uxie actually, assuming it's got speed, because Uxie actually is quite fast. It is the same speed as Gliscor. So if it has doesn't even need that much investment in order to outspeed every Dragonite, and the only possible threat of DD then is very unlikely. Plus, I would hope Smurf has some sort of steal, because the only way Uxie would die would be to like Dragon Dance, Life Orb, Outrage. So I think Uxie's a good switch here. Throw up a screen. Clearly, AM is going to struggle with this T-Tar. He could have like a Scarf Jirachi. I feel like we would have seen a switch if he had Scarf Jirachi. So if he does have a Rachi, which is very possible, then I would expect it to be Calm Mind. We can also see a Kun of his own, but I mean, Kun is still unless he's going for a sweep of his own and is willing to, sack the D-Knight, I don't know. Just feel like would have had a better switch. If he had a better switch, then would have gone to it. That said, Dragonite he recognizes Dragonite does not have a ton of use, but yeah, that DD, then I think we would have seen some serious shit. Anyway, the move for Smurf is clearly, in my opinion, Uxie. There it is. Are we going to see CB Outrage? Yes, but Uxie is slower. Oh, you gotta run speed on Uxie to make the most out of it, man. That sucks. Dragonite dodges a move and then ends up getting a KO instead. But we'll see. And other folks that Smurf could be using are, Dragonite of his own. Metagross, hurt down, and, Metagross and T-Tar, really, really dangerous. That's going to agility, and, I mean, Rotom can take it, but it's not Life Orb. It could be Lum for Will-O-Wisp. Not to mention Zen Headbutt brings, flinches into the equation, with Will-O-Wisp already mediocre accuracy. Not that Zen Headbutt is perfectly accurate or has a very high flinch rate, but So, we're going to see a Dragonite KO here. Even a Scarfer won't help, because Jolly Metagross outruns even Scarf Gengar. Does it? No, Scarf Gengar is the only thing that Jolly Metagross can't beat. You need 263 to beat that, and it tops out at 262, but it beats like Scarf and Fernape, so. Let's see, so Rotom cannot switch into this, so something is surely going to die, because if nothing could switch into the Tyranitar, then I would be very surprised if he had something for Metagross, other than Rotom. So, as for Smurf's lasts, I could see... I could see a lot of things, honestly. I'm trying to figure out what he could have based on how he's played it. But I don't think there's much to be, gleaned from the way he's played it. Maybe something. Well, it certainly can't be something that handles Rotom very well. Not that any, sweeper would want to... would be a better switch into Rotom than Tyranitar, so that doesn't really tell us anything. I want to say Kingdra's possible, Rain Dance Kingdra very possible. DD Rain Dance Kingdra even. We could see a Dragonite of his own. We could see, Lucario. There's Mash, Life Orb. If this is Zen Headbutt, then Rotom's gonna. Well, that helps Rotom because to take it out after this hit. Although if it is just max HP or less, like some might be, then Zen Headbutt would. If it's not like bulked out sub Rotom, then it will die to the Zen Headbutt. And that T-Bolt did quite a lot to Kun. No, actually it only did 56. So we're going to assume it has bulk, because offensive would do just a little bit more. Suicune would Yeah, alright, that's cool then. Meteor Mash, any dodges, my goodness. Well, he would have gotten 2 attacks off. So I guess we can assume it's Boom last. If it was the same roll with T-Bolt, then... Although now I don't think he will have any hesitation in switching to his Tyranitar and going for Dragon Dance. Ooh, that's messy. May have been a blessing in disguise because double downs could get, bad, but I think Azelf wasn't a bad thing. Wasn't a bad thing to send out on a double down. Well, this is looking, not great for Smurf. Because on paper you could say you don't know his last 2, but the way he's played makes me think that Tyranitar is just going to cause some real pain here. So... I was really thinking about this. I'm thinking his Scarf. I mean, he doesn't need one, but the Scarfers that don't really mind, that are weak to Tyranitar, are Rotom and Heatran, and he's got both, and neither of those really appreciate it. I don't think we're going to be seeing a Scarf Zapdos. Like a lot of times in my videos I'll say that this set technically exists, but you will never see it 999 games out of 1,000, and Scarf Zapdos is one of those. I mean, it's not particularly good either, in case you think it's one of those underrated gems. It really isn't. I tried, but just Stealth Rock weak Scarfers are the worst. Anyway, Zapdos has better things to be doing. And the other Scarfers, Jirachi and Flygon, they might not be able to switch in, but I still think that we would have seen a switch to one of those as opposed to a switch to Dragonite if he had them. And Am's really thinking about this, so I assume he must be calcing. Maybe he's got a Kingdra, and he's calcing to see if it can live a +1 hit with rocks. It's interesting to see DD-Tar on Smurf's end because it really fell out of favor with the Machloom Surge. That's been going on for 2+ years now. There is a Coon, and but screens help with that because then you survive the Mach ideally, and then you just punch it into oblivion. So Suicune is not killing T-Tar. The worst it might do is Roar, but then it's only doing 12% total because Roxanne will still set up on Heatran or Rotom depending on the move. And the way he's thinking about this makes me think if Smurf, if he's Stone Edge, Earthquake, Ice Punch, then AM does have a fondness for Bold Suicune. This does look like an AM team. And he crits and kills him. That is Life Orb DD-Tar. Holy goodness. Life Orb DD-Tar is definitely the rarest of DD-Tar variants, but it is very, very powerful. Now we will not know what kind of Coon that was. I feel like it was offensive. Defensive would be a better switch. And he switches to Lucario. Nice move there. This is definitely not Scarf Lucario. Scarf Lucario is actually quite a good T-Tar switch. It's ideally not your only one, but yeah, he's if he's got Bullet Punch, then Bullet Punch Lucario uses Adamant because with Jolly you actually struggle to kill T-Tar, and Bullet Punch will be doing just about, it's high 40s to 50s, low 50s. Oh, not even, but that's around that range. So he's still out of it even at max. So Stone Edge, Ice Punch, this means Earthquake last. And that means either Rotom comes in and he doesn't waste the Life Orb turn, or Heatran comes in and he doesn't, and it dies, so he's only got the 2 pokes left. And even then, well no, then he's almost guaranteed to kill it after the next Life Orb hit, but I just feel like it's not Bullet Punch. It could be. There's no reason it can't be, but oh, he's got less than 30 seconds on the timer. He might. Defensive Rotom it doesn't really annoy that team if he plays right with his Specs Train. And if his Mix Knight busts up its partners nicely, it's CB Knight, sorry. If his CB Knight busts up its partners nicely. Offensive Coon and Luke together is a classic combo. And Crunch would help with annoying guys like Celebi and Rotom. But Bullet Punch is important for guys like Scarftar and Gengar is incredibly dangerous, so I tend to favor it, especially because the things Crunch hits can be dealt with in other ways, or in the case of Scarf Rotom, you most likely won't get to use them. So back to Rotom, and it's actually going to die to Sand. Will it? Yeah, it does. So that's a free kill there, so nothing happens. So even if this does Bullet Punch, it does, and it gets a very low roll. That's Jolly. That is definitely Jolly, as you can see from the roll. Yeah. And Jolly Beefy Luke is pretty weak. And it would have been necessary for Tyranitar to... It would have been necessary for Heatran to survive Azelf Explosion, and then the last, which could be a million things. Lucario, Kingdra, Dragonite, those are the general setup sweepers that you're going for with this kind of team. So Smurf's going to take this one. So interesting battle. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you next time.